What is going on, everyone? Today we're talking about the things you need to know before visiting Cape Disappointment State Park. We're going to cover the lighthouses, the hiking trails, the viewpoints, the interpretive center, as well as the campground, different beaches that you can visit, and just some other planning logistics when you visit Cape Disappointment. So by the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to know before visiting Cape Disappointment State Park. Abby and I visit Cape Disappointment a few times each year. It's one of our favorite places to go in the entire Pacific Northwest. There's just so much to see and do here. We see something new each time we go, and we always have a great time visiting. There's just so much to see and appreciate within this park. It's so much fun to explore, so let's get right into it. Cape Disappointment State Park is located just north of the mouth of the mighty Columbia River on the Washington side. It's about 30 minutes from Astoria and 2 hours from Portland. Let's get our bearings with a look at a map of Cape Disappointment. We'll come back to this map as we explore Cape Disappointment so that you can get an understanding of the layout. By the way, we created this Google My Map, so if you want to use this resource when you explore, we have some helpful features labeled there. You can get this map at our website. We have a full article and the map is in the article. Cape Disappointment is right next to a small town called Ilwaco, which is worth popping into if you're looking for a coffee or a bite to eat. It's fun to walk along the harbor there. It's really cute and pretty. There are a few different roads to access Cape Disappointment State Park. By the way, when you enter the park, you'll need to purchase a Discovery Pass. You can do this online or in person at different locations around the park. We'll start at the north end of the park at Beards Hollow, which is a cool swampy area with beach access nearby. By the way, you should know about the Discovery Trail, which is a paved path that goes from Ilwaco all the way to Long Beach and actually cuts through the Beards Hollow area in Cape Disappointment. This path is great for biking. It's about 8 miles long in total. It goes along the beach and the sand dunes for a while and then heads into the forest at Cape Disappointment, ultimately ending up at Ilwaco. So back to the Beards Hollow area. It's worth pulling into that roadside parking lot. There's a really nice view of the beach and North Head to the south. You can access the beach at Beards Hollow in a few different ways. You can drive down to the Beards Hollow trailhead parking lot and walk through the swampy area, which is really interesting, and then access the beach there. There's some really nice cliffs and it's just super fun to explore that area. You can actually drive to this Beards Hollow beach area too via the Sea View approach just a few minutes north of Cape Disappointment. Just south of Beards Hollow is the North Head area with the North Head Lighthouse, one of the 2 lighthouses at Cape Disappointment. Both of the lighthouses there are actually still active and really interesting. This is the only place on the west coast where there are 2 lighthouses within 2 miles of each other. The North Head Lighthouse was built way back in 1898 and the original lens can be seen in the Interpretive Center. The lighthouse was designed by Carl Leck, who designed plans for over 35 lighthouses in Oregon, Washington, and Alaska. You can actually see the head innkeeper's and assistant innkeeper's residence that are located nearby the lighthouse. Something that's really cool is you can rent out these buildings. It's a super unique stay. We always kind of wanted to do it someday. Bell's Viewpoint is just nearby North Head Lighthouse and provides a great view of the Long Beach Peninsula to the north. There's also an old water tower and a World War II era military battery, which are both really interesting to see. Cape Disappointment has a history of military presence dating back to the Civil War, when cannons were installed to protect against Confederate and foreign trespass. Our World War I, there was long-range guns that were installed, and more batteries were installed in World War II. The operations at this Cape Disappointment fort were actually decommissioned in 1948 without any of the weaponry having ever fired an actual shot. The campground is just south of North Head. It's a really cool campground. People always say great things about it. We've never stayed there ourselves, but we have driven in and checked it out. And it seemed relatively large. There's 230 sites at this campground. but the sites do feel pretty private. There's a lot of vegetation in between them. And actually the way that the campground sites are oriented in circles is pretty unique. I haven't really seen it at a lot of other campgrounds. The majority of the sites are by Benson Beach, which is actually kind of harder to access if you're just coming for the day. So it feels super private when you are camping there, because there's just not a trailhead that's near there where it's easy to access that same beach. So in between North Head Lighthouse and Cape Disappointment Lighthouse to the south, there is McKenzie Head, which is just a really interesting hill. There's a monument dedicated to Lewis and Clark, who camped nearby and then saw the Pacific Ocean for the first time. There's a short but steep hike that brings you up to the top of the hill, in which you get another World War II era battery to explore. This one is even bigger and super fun to walk inside. You definitely want to bring a light source because it is pitch black in there. But the views up here on McKenzie Head are just incredible. Looking out, you can see the North Jetty there. The Army Corps of Engineers constructed the North Jetty in 1912, which helped ships navigate into the Columbia River. However, the construction of that jetty changed the way the sediments shifted and actually created way more land along the Cape Disappointment shoreline, so it looks a lot different than it did even 100 years ago. Also, it's worth mentioning there's a really cool trail between North Head and McKenzie Head, which we've hiked. It's definitely worth it. It can get pretty soggy depending on the time of year, but that's just how it is in Cape Disappointment. The weather here is definitely windy and rainy a lot of the year, especially in the winter, so just be prepared for those wet conditions. Southeast of McKenzie Head is Waikiki Beach. There's a parking lot and restrooms here, and the beach itself has a lot of interesting driftwood. It's a kind of a smaller beach, but it makes for a great spot to throw down a blanket and hang out for the day because it is close to the parking lot. In the winter, you can watch the waves when it's really stormy. It's so cool to watch the big waves crash against the cliffs. You'll see a lot of photographers there, and it's just a really cool vibe. From Waikiki Beach, you can either hike or drive up to the Interpretive Center. The Interpretive Center is really awesome. It has a ton of helpful information about the history of the area, which is super fun to learn about. There's the original lens for the North Head Lighthouse, which is super cool. There's a small gift shop which actually has some really cool posters. You have to pay to see the Lewis and Clark exhibit, but I think it's only $5. We didn't go in, but I'm sure it's awesome. The Interpretive Center also has amazing views, so you should definitely check those out. A short walk away from the Interpretive Center is Dead Man's Cove, which is a super interesting little tiny beach with an island in the middle of the cove. It's just such a unique little beach and definitely worth checking out. If you continue along that trail, you'll come to the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse. The Cape Disappointment Lighthouse was actually constructed even before the North Head Lighthouse in 1856. It's actually the oldest operating lighthouse in the Pacific Northwest. From the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse, you get more excellent views. You can see Oregon all the way to the south and Astoria in the Astoria Bridge that connects Oregon and Washington. And you can also see the Interpretive Center to the north and the huge cliffs right there. It's just an awesome view. Some planning logistics when you visit, there's a lot of different parking lots that you can stop at, pop out and have a view. We love how accessible this park is. It seems like you don't have to walk too far from your car to just get amazing views and see most of the great things there. But at the same time, you can still do longer hikes. We started at the north end of the park and hiked all the way to the Cape Disappointment Lighthouse on the south end. And that was a full day of hiking, which was super fun to just plan that adventure along the entire park. Even though the weather can be rainy and windy in the winter, it's still worth going. Even on stormy days, it's a really unique place to see. But when the sun's out, there's a few things better than the views that you get up there. There's just super unique views of the lighthouses and the cliffs. Hopefully you found this video helpful when planning your visit to Cape Disappointment State Park. You can check out our article on our website, which again has that map that we created with the different locations labeled. If you think that'd be helpful, check out the article and have a great time when you visit Cape Disappointment State Park. Let us know in the comments if you have any questions before you visit, but also let us know what you thought about it and the things that you liked the best or maybe didn't like so much.